Because dhyanena atmani vindati. Are you going to get enlightened by sitting 12 hours a day or standing on Shirshasana? No. But lot of rumors going on for centuries. You can become enlightened by meditating. That is a false statement. Because the meditation retains the meditator. The meditation retains the meditator. Who is the meditator? This I sense is the meditator. So the meditator cannot know the truth of the meditator. See that. As long as you do dhyanam, so long you cannot know the truth of the meditator. Then what should I do? To fix up the mind, you can meditate. It gives you two results by meditating. It gives you two results. What is the result? Through meditation, in fact, you don't get antakarana shuddhi. Through meditation, you get that antakarana naischarya. Naischarya means your capacity to stay with an object. Whenever you have to stay with an object, with a subject matter, as long as you want to stay with that subject matter, so long you can stay. That antakarana naischaryam would be given by upasana. It gives a lot of upasanas there. Virat upasana, Pantambrahma upasana, Ahangraga upasana, lot of upasanas. So the results vary. Hiranyagarbha upasana ityadi. The results vary. But this upasana gives antakarana shuddhi and antakarana naischaryam. For antakarana shuddhi is neutralization of ragadvesha. Then something else to be done along with upasana. Vichara has to be done. Vichara plus upasana. Therefore, as long as I meditate, what should I meditate upon? You can choose anything and meditate upon. And within the format of scriptures, of course. Because in the vision of the Shastra, whatever is here is nothing but Ishvara. Therefore, in anything you can invoke Ishvara. Anything you can invoke Ishvara, because whatever is here is nothing but Ishvara. That is the vision. Therefore, anything you can take, and in that you can invoke the Lord. But it won't help you to understand the nature of the creation, nor the nature of you. It won't give you knowledge. Therefore, it gives what? It gives a mind which is fit to understand the nature of the dhyata. So, here, by meditating, you cannot know Atma. Why? It is your own nature. That's why it is said, Pratyak. Parikshilokan karmachitan brahmana. Nirvedamayada nasti akrataha kritena tad vijnanartham gurumeva abhigacheda samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtamiti. Without taking upadesha from the guru, from the teacher, without shravanam of the scripture, there is no way of knowing one's own nature. Why? Because though you use a knife to cut vegetables, use a knife. But to cut that knife, can you use that knife? I can lift you. But to lift myself, what should I do? Can I lift myself? Can a knife cut by itself? Can my eyes be used to see my own eyes? Can I use my eyes to see my own eyes? So too, the dhyata, as long as the dhataratvam is retained, so long its own nature it cannot know. Therefore, there should be an outside agency. That outside agency means what? There should be a pramana, an independent means of knowledge outside of you, which you call Shastra. And that Shastra there should be someone to unfold the words of the Shastra. Therefore, this is not discretely teaching. This is teaching by implication. Implied teaching. Lakshanarthadaya. How this Lakshanartha? When you are analyzing these three avasthas, then we have to tell the truth of the waker, the truth of the dreamer, the truth of the sleeper. And it is that consciousness. Therefore, that consciousness cannot be understood. And how can it be all pervasive? That will come to me. Now, the dhyada cannot understand the nature of dhyada. Then upadesha is required. Therefore, the pramana which is in the form of words, it has to be unfolded. Lakshanaya, it has to be employed. Words are to be employed. This is what's happening. We are employing the words. Shastra, when it used the word sat, it said it exists in all three periods of time. Therefore, Shastra is loading the word and employing it. And making you see what is Satyam. So the whole world is not Satyam. It is not Sat. The body is not Satyam. The body, mind, sense complex. And even the Ahankara Tattva, my sense is not Satyam. Then what is Satyam? It is said, I am timeless. So what is Satyam? What is Sat? Then is it possible to know timelessness being within time? What tool you will use to know the nature of timelessness being within time? All the equipments you have got is within time. So can the knower eye know the nature of timelessness being in this order of reality, in this empirical order of reality? Because empirical order of reality is within time and space. We'll go to that analysis as well. But here, staying with this point, Dhyanena Atmani Vindati. You cannot know Atma through Dhyana. Why? It retains the Dhyada, and Atma is the Swarupa of the Dhyada. Swarupa of the Dhyada. Therefore, the meditator's Swarupa, the meditator cannot know. Because the Swarupa of Dhyada, which is consciousness, cannot be known as an object. Paranchikhani vadunat swayambhu tasmat parankoshidi na antaratman kasid dhiraha pratyegatmana maikshada avrutta chakshu amradattva vichchanditi. So all the senses are outwardly designed. So they pick up the word. Outwardly. And the mind is also something outward. And the eye sense is also something outward. Therefore, the consciousness because of which I become a conscious being. I become sentient. And that consciousness cannot be known through all these instruments. Manasa na manude. Then it is said, Manasa eva aptavyam. You cannot know through the mind, but mind is the only tool by which it can be known. Then how it should be known? Wherever there is an object, it should be known as the astibhava of that object, isness of that object, in the form of awareness. And wherever there is a perception, and that perception, that form of the perception which is illuminated by consciousness, and the very consciousness is very much there as the easiness of object outside, as the easiness of your vritti and the amness of you. Therefore, jnata, jneyam, jnanam, all the three are vrittyatmakam, which has got forms, and the easiness of all these forms is one formlessness, prajnanaghana. Therefore, in spite of the subject and object, you are free from the subject and object. In spite of your perception, because the subject, the so-called subject, is in the form of eye sense. The so-called object is also in the form of object thought. Therefore, in spite of the subject and object, what illumines that consciousness is what? Is untouched by. What illumines the forms, the consciousness is untouched by it.